Hello traders, and welcome to this really quick 10-minute trade video where I break down a trade I took earlier today and basically show you why I entered, my thought process behind it, why I put my stops where I put them, and my take profit and all that good stuff. So without further ado, let's go ahead and check out this trade. Now, what you're looking at is the S&P 500. This is the 15-minute candlestick chart, got the volume profile right here, and it's no secret now, the S&P 500 for the past 3 weeks has been in a bear market, okay? Now, notice that today is Monday. We did gap over the weekend. I've drawn out the gap right here, okay? And we're coming back into that gap, but we did see a rejection, okay? Now, what you're seeing, the time you're seeing right now is 2:30 UK time, which is 9:30 in America. Okay, which is obviously when the stock market opens. So this is market open for the S&P 500, so to speak. Now I'm going to drop into the footprint chart. Now straight away, what do we spot, right? The moment the market opened, we have seen some very heavy selling coming in, right? Over 1,000 contracts in the delta on one price level and another 1,000 contracts to the sellers on another price level, right? Really, really heavy selling. Just take a look at, the other numbers you're seeing around, you're seeing relatively average numbers, right? 331, 163, and then you just got this huge area where it's just really heavy selling took place, right? Now that doesn't mean necessarily jump in for a sell, okay? What it does mean is keep an eye on it, okay? Someone has put a lot of money on the table. Now there's two things that could play out here, right? The market could not really respond well. Someone could be selling very heavy, okay? Now in this case, we did see that the market responded pretty well. The moment these sells came in, the market has actually pushed down, right? But let's say hypothetically these sellers came in, but the market just kind of went sideways for a bit and then started actually pushing up. Now imagine what you would do if you were one of those sellers. If it started going against you, you've put a lot of money right here on the line and the market's now pushing up against you, first thing you're going to do is get out that trade, right? So that is what we would call a trap setup, okay? And the moment you see people exiting, you jump in for a buy, okay? But in this case, that didn't quite happen, right? The market actually managed to push down. So what am I looking for? I'm looking for a pullback into that area. Okay, so we're going to go ahead, fast forward it a little bit, let it play out. I draw a box around, that heavy selling, marking it out, saying, right, when the market comes back to that area, okay, the moment it dips in, I'm going to start selling. Okay, as long as I see some kind of rejection, something to show me, these sellers are coming in and defending that area, right? We are seeing a bit of absorption happen right here. Okay, you saw these numbers jump a little bit, they went over 1,000 and they're kind of jumping up. You can see the sellers are struggling a little bit. You can see these numbers are getting smaller now. They were at 1,000 and they're still getting a bit smaller. That is indicating there's some buyers sitting there, all right, which would make perfect sense actually in this case scenario because we're at the point of control, the most heavily traded area on the chart. But look what's just happened. The market has dipped into that area. I've got my finger on the sell button. I'm just looking for some rejection. I'm looking for some sellers to come in a bit heavy and boom, right there, we saw them. I clicked the button and we're in for 2 positions on the trade. Now, first thing, what you're meant to do, set your stop loss. I set my stop loss now in a very strategic area. I set it just a bit above where that heavy selling came in. Because realistically speaking, if we start drifting above those heavy sellers, that's probably not a good sign for anyone who is selling, right? Okay, especially someone who has sold a little bit lower down like I'd have right here, okay? So if it starts going a bit above and, you can see those sellers dropping off, I want to be out that trade as well, okay? So a really tight stop loss. This is a scalping strategy, a really tight stop loss. And my take profit, however, can be a really nice risk reward. So I'm just going to go ahead, forward a little bit, show you where I put my take profit. So I put my take profit all the way down into this little gap in volume at the bottom here, okay? I'm not putting it at the low of the day because we are in an area of support. So my overall bias is still, okay, since we are in a heavy area of support, that we are going to come back down into these support areas and potentially move back up. I don't think we're going to be taking out this low. I might be wrong, but I'd rather be safe, and secure my profit. So I'm going way more, I'm being a lot more realistic and lowering my expectations with this trade by targeting this area of support, which is a nice gap in volume. Okay, and we're going to see how this all played out. So I'm going to go ahead, forward it a little bit as I set my take profit at $4,600. Now you can see the market is freezing a little bit, but I'm just going to forward it. Not much really happens. We're seeing the sellers coming in quite strong. Everything is running quite smoothly. There's nothing really terrifying or anything worrying. I did add another position actually. If I go back to where I added it, right here, I added another position right here. And the reason for that is, look, these buyers are just not having a good time, right? They're buying relatively heavy. Here, 300 contracts, another 300, but they're just not pushing the market up, okay? But then look at these sellers. They come in at 300 contracts as well, and look what they're able to do, push the market down. That gives me an indication the sellers are well and truly in control of this market, right? They're a lot more effective at moving the market. So I add another position on, okay? And I'm just going to fast forward it as this market starts pushing down. We go a little bit sideways, and then boom, again, heavy selling coming in. This is giving me a lot of confidence in this trade, right? Heavy selling. Look at these numbers. Huge selling coming in. Okay, beautiful. Exactly what I want to be seeing. All right. And the buyers are just not able to hold it back. We'll fast forward a little bit more. Now, I do start getting slightly nervous here, but look what we're seeing again. We're seeing buyers coming in, right? All buyers. But what is the market actually doing, right? Look at the actual candle. What is actually happening? Does that look like a bullish candle? Doesn't look very bullish to me, right? The buyers are just not being effective, okay? They're trying, they're giving it, they're giving it a good shot, but it's just not working out in their favor, right? Again, kind of, makes me a little bit more confident in this trade. But what I am a little bit, but this doesn't mean, what you have to remember here is this doesn't mean necessarily that the buyers can't push the market up. Absolutely not. They can if more aggression comes in. Just at the current level of aggression, what we're seeing from the buyers, right, they're not able to do much damage. But if more buyers come in, okay, and if this is an area where buyers like to jump in and they find that this price, this area here, is a good place to buy, and more contracts are traded in the buy, more contracts are bought, sorry, we can actually see this market go up, right? So you do have to, keep an eye on it at all times. So I'm really just keeping my eye on it, okay? But it's looking pretty good in our favor. Excuse me. It's looking pretty good. I am, got my finger on the exit button just in case those buyers get more aggressive, but they're not really doing much damage. I'm seeing that they're still unable to push the market up, which is good for me. We get very, very close to my take profit, and any second right there, the take profit is hit. And the trade is done for $6,000 plus. So, very, very successful trade. Took, not very long, under 7 minutes, or under 8 minutes, sorry, to play out. But a quick scalp that was very successful because you understand market dynamics, right? You're looking where is the money in the market? Who are the big players? Who's controlling the market? You don't want to be buying against heavy selling, and you definitely don't want to be selling against heavy buying. You want to make sure where that imbalance occurs, right? Where one side is able to push the market in their direction, and the other side are just not having much luck. But that's pretty much it for this video. Do let us know if you want to see more videos of me going over my trades that I take on on a daily basis. So thank you guys for watching. Go ahead, check out the live sessions, because we do this kind of stuff in the live sessions. They're streamed on every platform. That's YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram. So go ahead, tune in every Monday to Friday. We do these live sessions. You get to see trades like this, and it's really awesome. But apart from that, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you again very soon. Take care.